When it comes to routine, often it's not things that are meaningful. It's like just like doing things to like get it out of the way, or doing things because you have to or feel you have to. Where ritual is different is that ritual is all about meaning. It's all about the why. It's about the deeper understanding and intention of what we are doing, of what you are doing. And I'm not going to do things to myself. I'm going to do things for myself. That when you are looking at creating sustainable, meaningful ritual in your life, you have to customize it to you, to what will serve you. Not what is serving someone else or your friend or even a family member, but what is serving you. Ritual comes from a much deeper place than just doing something to make yourself feel better so that you don't have to sit in the discomfort that you potentially are. Hi there, welcome to the Aligned Living Podcast. I'm your host, Kathleen, and I'm super excited to have you join us. In these episodes, we're going to have some heart-to-heart conversations with experts, everyday wellness enthusiasts, and, well, anyone with a story to share about their journey towards a more balanced and harmonious life. Welcome to the Aligned Living Podcast, where well-being meets wisdom, and the journey is just as important as the destination. Let's dive in. Hi everyone, and welcome to this conversation. I am really excited to be doing this little chat because it's something that is really close to my heart, and practices that have made really big changes in my life, and things that are actually really simple and accessible for anyone and everyone. I've just hopped out of the shower after a lovely ice cold swim in the ocean, and when I say ice cold, I mean ice cold. It is cold at the moment, but it's just so fresh. And actually swimming in the ocean has become such a massive ritual for me. And so it's just one of those things that I just do now because it's not a routine. It's not something that I feel I have to do. It's just become a practice that really, really serves me. And I think that when we speak about ritual, that is what is the most important part of it all. So we're actually going to dive straight into the conversation because there's a few things that I would like to cover this evening. The topic that we are talking about is how to create meaningful ritual in our lives. And the first thing I wanted to speak to is the difference between ritual and routine. I think a lot of the time we set up these routine for ourselves that we think are good for us. We decide that every day I'm going to get up at 5 and then I'm going to go to the gym and then I'm going to have my breakfast smoothie or whatever it is, and then I'm going to journal and then I'm going to do this and then I'm going to do that and I'm going to do the same thing every single day. It's not sustainable, especially not sustainable for women. Men work quite well in a 24-hour cycle, circadian rhythm, the rhythm of the day, the sun rising and falling. And women are very different. We work on a different cycle. So for us to try and navigate our life in a way where we're doing exactly the same thing every single day is not sustainable. I think like if we had to do like a show of hands of like who has tried to do like the same thing every day all the time, that isn't ritual, something that's just a routine thing that you kind of have told yourself that you should do it, it's not sustainable, it doesn't last. When it comes to routine, often it's not things that are meaningful. It's like just like doing things to like get it out of the way, or doing things because you have to or feel you have to. Where ritual is different is that ritual is all about meaning. It's all about the why. It's about the deeper understanding and intention of what we are doing, of what you are doing. When it's come to creating rituals, for me, I look at what I call the 3 C's. With the 3 C's, it is all about number one. So this is what's really worked for me when it's come to creating ritual. Is the 3 C's. So are the 3 C's. 3 C's being clarity, customization, and conviction. So step one, so super important, becoming clear on what it is that you need, right? So really asking yourself deeply, and this is going to lead onto the next point, but you won't know what to do unless you know what it is that you need. So just doing randomly things, going around kind of just grabbing and clutching at this trend or that fad. Someone on Instagram said that if I do this every day, it'll be really good for me, or whatever the case is. You're not actually serving yourself because you're not actually deeply asking yourself what it is that you need. And the beauty of intuition and our womb wisdom that we have is that we always know. And often that little voice does get drowned out by all the noise around us, by the ego, by programming. But when we really take time to become still, when we really slow down and ground and earth ourselves, and that's part of the rituals we're going to talk about today, we're able to find more clarity on what it is we want. And so that leads us on to the second C, which is customization. Look at your hands for a moment. Have a look at your fingerprint. We all know that our fingerprints are unique. This is, to me, like one of the most beautiful, simple, yet profound to remind us of our uniqueness. And we use our hands daily. This life is not a one shoe fits all. We are so different in so many ways that when you are looking at creating sustainable, meaningful ritual in your life, you have to customize it to you, to what will serve you, not what is serving someone else or your friend or even a family member, but what is serving you. And that leads us on to the third C, which is conviction, having conviction in your decisions, in your commitments, and really sticking to those as much as possible within the framework of this is not a routine and I'm not going to do things to myself, I'm going to do things for myself. So ritual can still be repetitive in the sense that you can have daily rituals, but it's not routine. So I just want to be clear on that. Every day when you wake up, you've got an opportunity to ask yourself, all right, what's going on in my head today? What's going on in my heart today? What's going on in the body today? What's going on in my gut? What's going on in my energetics? What is my emotional landscape feeling like internally today? Every day we've got the opportunity to wake up and meet ourselves at that place. And so when we're able to meet ourselves at that place, we can go, okay, now I have clarity on what it is I need. What can I customize today for myself now that is meaningful, that is grounding, that is connecting, that's going to bring me into alignment, and that is going to serve my highest good by looking at the whole of myself. So this isn't meaning, what am I going to do today to make myself be happy, to make myself more energetic, to make myself feel more driven, to pump myself up. Yes, we also need energy, we need strength, we need yang, we need tapas, we need fire, we do need that. But I think that there's a very big issue in the wellness space in the Western world of doing practices to feel better. We shouldn't be doing practices to feel better. Practices are there to hold us through what it is we are going through right now, whether that be anger, sadness, irritation, guilt, shame, depression, whatever it is. And we're not accepting those things with the acceptance of I'm just going to stay where I am and I'm stuck. But there's an acceptance on a deeper level of understanding that you are human, and that comes with everything. And so we meet ourselves when it comes to that customization. We meet ourselves in a place where we go, okay, today I'm not feeling the bubbly, the smiley, the whatever. How do I look at my rituals for today in a way that is going to hold me? And for a lot of us, that means we do still need to be functioning. You know, maybe it's like, I do still need to take the kids to school, or I do still need to send those emails. You know, we have responsibilities in this life of ours with the jobs and the other people and being members of society. We have responsibilities, and so we can't always just shut down, but we can support ourselves. And so that's where the customization really comes in, where you look at every day, where am I today? And then once you've looked at that, to have conviction in that support structure for yourself. What comes in here very strongly is boundaries. Saying no. Saying no to other people's stuff means saying yes to yourself. And so often we shut ourselves down to make the world easier for other people. And in the end, that actually ends up really serving no one. So those are the 3 C's. And an easy way to start with creating ritual, I have found, is first thing in the morning or the last thing before you go to sleep. And why this is because when you're waking up from sleep, your brain, your mind, your subconscious is in quite a permeable state, almost like the brain frequency that you would be in going into a yoga nidra. This is the time planting seeds, those seeds into the subconscious. I quite like, every now and then I will bring in affirmations in the mornings, not like live, laugh, love stuff. I don't know, anything can be positive. I'm not being negative about positivity. Positivity is very important, but real things, you know, like, I see myself today. I really feel myself today. I trust in my own strength, my own gut, my own intuition, etc., etc. I'm actually going to do a meditation of affirmations. So if you want that meditation, send me a DM on Instagram and I will send you the link. Positive affirmations and self-talk, the conversations that we're having with ourselves first thing in the morning is really important. The conversation that you're having last thing in the evening, really important. I think a really big part of ritual is bringing in gratitude, so that it's not just me. Ritual is not Ritual's not necessarily about like climbing in the bath and burning the incense and reading your book, or, you know, whatever the case might be. Those are also lovely things which I love to do. In fact, one of my favorite rituals to do is making myself the biggest, most delicious bowl of pasta, and then I get into the bath and I put on Friends and I watch Friends and I eat my big bowl of pasta in the bath, and it brings me so much joy and it just like grounds me. And so bathing is fine, but what I'm trying to say is that ritual comes from a much deeper place than just doing something to make yourself feel better so that you don't have to sit in the discomfort that you potentially are. Rituals are there to hold us no matter what it is we're going through. And so if you're starting out with creating rituals, morning and evening, like I said, is a very good time to do that, because you're entering a slow down pace with the mind. You're trying to get out of that kind of thinking, problem solving, analyzing part of the brain. You're trying to move more into subconscious. You're trying to really plant those seeds where it really lands with the deeper part of yourself, because it's true, because you've felt it. And so waking up in the morning, not engaging with the outer world first, but engaging with yourself first. Last thing in the evening, not engaging with the world outside, not watching the screen, even reading a book is outward, right? So last thing in the evening, engaging with yourself. Just being with yourself. It can be really, really tough sometimes to do that. But it really is, what I've found is the only way. And that leads me on to my next point of ritual is ritual can be very powerful when it is done within a group. Having ritual with family, hey Chans, having ritual with your partner, having ritual with other women in your life, extremely powerful. But I do believe that these practices come from a place of really understanding what that means to you, and so having ritual with yourself. I have so many things that I want to add in, so I'm just going to try and let it segue nicely now. But to me, having ritual with myself is a spiritual practice. And so prayer really comes in for me with this, and whatever prayer means to you. But first thing in the morning, last thing in the evening, it is a ritual of prayer and gratitude and connection to something bigger, more powerful that I know is holding me, bringing myself into that element of trusting that life is going to unfold and that I know that I am, and I kind of hate the saying doing my best, because again it puts this message in of like we all need to be like trying and doing our best, and once you've like done your best, like do even better, right? So pulling away from that and just knowing that by you showing up in those moments and seeing yourself and feeling yourself really is enough. And having alone time. Yella, I cannot tell you how much having alone time is just been massive for me. So when I did my first human design chart reading, and I was told I'm a 2-4 line, which is connector and hermit, it's like it was so fascinating for me to really observe and recognize those two aspects of myself, that I am the connector. I love connecting. I love people. I love my people. I love socializing, but I'm also the hermit. And for me, the hermit part is where I really sink into my rituals. And so we spoke a little bit now about bringing ritual into morning and evening. So, we can talk about practical things, because anything can be a ritual. Anything can be a ritual. And in fact, where I think we lose out on life is that we wait for the big moments to appreciate life. We wait for the weddings, the birthdays, even the sunrise or the sunset, like the big things that are so apparent to like the wowness, or that like elevate us or that connect us. We wait for those big moments to be like, wow, look at that beautiful sunset. I really appreciate my life. Or, birth and death are huge for us humans. Whenever there's a birth or death that happens within our families or our close circles, it can really shake us up. It gives us that moment of like, like life is so precious. And with ritual, what I find so beautiful is that ritual is about the in-betweens. It's about the smaller things. Because if we think of a 24-hour day, and I ask you, what was the best part of your day today? Okay? Or maybe like, okay, what was the best and the worst part of your day today? And I say, okay, the best part of my day today was that I went for this beautiful swim in the ocean with a really good friend, and it was just so like, it was like soul healing, body healing. I feel so good. What was the worst part of your day? I had like a really stressful work thing that I had to do, and it completely shook me, and like blah, 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 blah. And my question to you is, what happened in between those moments? What happened in between the big goods and the big heavies? I don't like saying bads, but like, what happened in between those moments? Where were you for 22 hours of your day, and what were you doing? Because that's also where ritual comes into play, is this awareness of the privilege that it is to be alive, the gratitude that we can have to be alive, to be experiencing, a gratitude for experiencing this world around us, for these interactions that we're able to have. I grew up as, I wouldn't say like a tomboy, but like a plaaskind, like a total plaaskind. So like we homeschooled as well, and we grew up with like horses and animals and like on the farm. And so like things like brushing our hair was like very far down the priority list. Like I didn't grow up with like those kinds of rituals really, of like skin routines or makeup or hair or like anything like that. And what's been interesting as I've gotten older, and in my 20s I also like couldn't care less either. I had like way more important fun things to do. Normally, yeah, no, yeah. Anyways, but now that I've gotten older, and especially with my yoga practice and getting to know my body and getting to know how cool it is to get to know my body has been such a key process in my healing, because it's given me these windows and opportunities to connect on a much deeper level to myself by making small things ritual. Like before I get into the shower, I do a dry brush. So dry brushing my skin all over my body, looking at my body, feeling my body, acknowledging my body, the different parts of the body, feeling my breath. So often I'll do some Uddiyana Kriya in the shower. Like I can go on about these kind of practical details, but like bottom line is, don't miss out on making the small things in your life meaningful, because they take up the majority of your time. And a lot of these things that we do on our own. So for a lot of people, like when you're traveling to work, when you need to go grocery shopping, when you're in the bathroom, a lot of the things that we do in life that take up time, we also, for a lot of us, we do alone. I know it's different when you have a family. I'm sure it's very different when you've got maybe 2 kids on the hip and you're like, oh, sure, Kathleen, where's this alone time that you speak of? But I'm talking to those in-between moments that you do have, whatever that looks like for you, however short or long that is. Don't overlook the in-betweens. And what was my real reminder of this is the breath, and particularly the practice of box breath. So it's a 4-part breath, right? So it's the inhale, the hold, the exhale, and the pause. And before I really got into my pranayama practices or my breathwork practices or my yoga, like breath was breath to me. It's in and out. That's it. You breathe in, you breathe out. And as you breathe in and you hold the breath and there's that pause, what's happening inside is the cellular respiration. So the magic is actually taking place in that moment. There's the exchange of the biochemicals, right, on the biological level that's happening in that moment. Like all the magic is happening in that moment. And then there's the exhale, the release. And then again, there's a pause before the next breath is welcomed into the body. And so those pauses, so breath in, breath out. Same thing's happening, right? But if I breathe in, I pause for a moment, and I breathe out, and I pause for a moment. It's the same breath that I'm taking. I'm doing the same thing, but there's more space, there's more time. And I'm able to see those in-between, feel that those in-between moments. Excuse me. So that was one of the things I did want to mention about ritual, is that you don't have to roll out your mat and light the incense and have the perfect ambiance and be in your yoga clothes and have the music playing and not have your family interrupt you for that time. Like, that's also lovely, but in reality, that might not always be the case. And so where do we find the ritual in the everyday life things? With saying that, I do feel like cultivating certain practices and having a discipline in them has been extremely supportive for me. My yoga asana practice is a ritual to me. Embodiment, movement, getting into this vehicle, this amazing vehicle of ours, is so wonderful and so necessary for us to be grounded and for us to be here and present in the moment. And ritual is all about, right, presence, awareness, intention. And how can we be intentional or present when we're busy floating all over the place? And so physical practices help us to land in our body and help us to really be present in the here and the now. So movement and embodiment, a beautiful ritual for you to bring in for yourself every single day. It doesn't have to be a 90-minute practice. Again, you don't have to whip out all the bells and whistles. Put on your favorite song, do a dance, do some spinal rolls, do some limb swings, take 10 deep breaths, bring yourself back into your body. That to me is really, I don't think there's really a ritual that I do where I don't first just take a moment to arrive at myself, in my body, in that moment. It's also interesting when it comes to ritual and routine and things, things like Ashtanga yoga practice, which is extremely disciplined and a daily practice. You've got Vipassana, which I loved, which is also very masculine. It's a seated practice and it's daily and you sit and you do. There's a lot of power in that for sure. I know, like, I'm extremely yin. Like, I'm so yin. I'm actually, like, way too yin. So I need oomph. Like, I need more masculine energy sometimes for me to, like, really hold myself in things. Again, it's all about finding balance. But as a woman, we're changing all the time, our cycle, like wherever that cycle is for you. And I'm not just talking about menstruation. Our cycle, so from pre-menstruation all the way up to menopause and beyond, is we're always in the cycle, right? So what served you last week, and this isn't woo-woo, what served you last week is most likely not necessarily going to serve you this week, because everything has changed. Physiologically, everything has changed. Your body is releasing different hormones in different ways. It's all changed. And the reproductive system plays such a massive role, like all the other systems. So cyclical living, to me, has become ritual. I feel like I'm only in like the baby beginning of really, really learning what it is and what it means. But honoring my cycle has been a huge new ritual that has come into my life over the past 4 years. And so bringing that all back to what I first spoke about the 3 C's, and the second one being customization, is honoring yourself where you are, right? And then with that, bringing in the yang, bringing in the masculine of conviction, honoring where you are, yet and staying devoted to your practices. And I had this conversation with a few people now, because I did a little story about this the other day, about how we let our practices go when things are going well with us. We've been brainwashed to believe that we only seek for help when things are going wrong. We only seek for support when we're feeling sick, when we're feeling down. Other than that, you just kind of like keep going, right? Just keep moving forward. Western medicine teaches us you're okay until you're not okay, and then we try and fix the problem. And then you're okay again. And then you're not okay, and then we try and fix the problem. And it's the same in the mental health sphere as well, I feel sometimes. But what happens if we can get to a place where we're okay? And all those practices, all those tools, all those support things that brought us to where we are now to make us feel okay, we keep doing them. What happens then? What they do is they amplify everything that is already going well. They amplify the harmony that is happening within your systems. They amplify the vibrancy that is growing within you. They amplify your awareness. They amplify your connection. And you start to go beyond this place of simply being okay. And that is what rituals have done for me. Is that when I'm committed, I'm devoted to a ritual that serves me, is it's taking me beyond just being okay. It is starting to take me to a place where I'm embodying my fullest potential, right? But again, it's not about like the doing and ticking off. Like, you've heard this before, I'm sure, like growth isn't linear. Those of you who know the 8 limbs of yoga from Patanjali, he explains that the 8 limbs of yoga, which is a path of living, is like a flower. Take a breather and explore the Aligned Living on-demand video library, along with our exclusive membership perks. Plus, our YouTube channel is already up and running, offering even more wellness content. Your path to holistic living is just one click away. Visit our website to learn more. And now, let's return to our inspiring discussion. It's like the lotus flower, and all the petals, all 8 of the 8 limbs of yoga, open at the same time. There's not like one that opens and you go, tick, I've done that, tick. It's all opening at the same time. So work is constantly being done. And it's a beautiful process. Even the pain, even the sadness, even the hurt, even the heaviness, there's lessons to be learned in it all. And I think that there's a big struggle between when am I doing too much and when am I not doing enough. And we sit in these two little spaces with ourselves all the time, like telling ourselves like, oh, I'm so exhausted, I'm doing too much, there's too much on my plate, Or we're in the other place of, oh, I'm not doing enough, should probably do more, I should probably be doing this, like, why am I not doing that, like, And we get caught up in those, and we forget to stop and ask ourselves, well, then what is it that you need? What is it that you need? Ask the body, what is it that you need? One of the last points I wanted to bring up is with mindfulness and awareness and outsourcing power, right? We tend to gravitate a lot towards thinking that someone else or something else is the answer and has the answer, and that they probably know better because I'm not as clever, I haven't studied enough, I haven't traveled as much as they have, I haven't had the life experiences that they've had, and blah, 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 blah. And yes, there is extreme power in connections with other people and their embodied wisdom. But don't outsource your power. That sits within here. All the amazingness that you see in other people, right, will come right back to the beginning of this conversation. They also have fingerprints like you do. And they are unique in their way, but so are you. Don't forget that. Is that your uniqueness, your power, your essence sits in here. But we can't access that if we're stuck in here and if we're stuck in the outside world, because then all we're doing is we're outsourcing, and it is very scary to step into the space because that means that you're taking radical responsibility for yourself on all levels, and that is really scary, but it is so empowering. It is so empowering, and it is so freeing. Just a little segue on that. In this modern world with all our devices, get off those devices. Don't hop on it first thing in the morning. Don't be on it last thing at night. Getting these dopamine hits from just looking at other things, of which a lot of it is not true or real. Yeah, I think that's pretty much where I'm going to leave us for today. Speaking about the box breath, today I wanted to remind you that there is a box breath video that I created. It is on the Aligned Living membership, and as far as I know, I think there's actually one on the YouTube page. So if you haven't checked out the YouTube page, there are practices there. You can check that out. And then also, as I mentioned, if you are interested in receiving the affirmations meditation that I'm going to be recording, drop me a DM or pop something in the comments and just say, yes, please me. And I will send you the link to that affirmation meditation. Everyone, it has been such a pleasure to do a little solo chat. It's actually going to be the first solo chat that I've done for the podcast. I've kind of been like putting it off because it's obviously like so much more supportive for me when I get to talk to someone else, and I love hearing people's stories. But it is an honor and a privilege to share here. And as I always say on the podcast, there is no such thing as a stupid question. So if you have any questions around any of this, if you found this helpful, let me know. If you have any questions and you were like, that didn't make sense, then please pop that in my inbox. I'm always open to conversation. If we were in person now, we'd all be maybe, I don't know, sitting together around a fire and having this chat. I had the most amazing swim in the ocean this afternoon, which, as I said, is one of my rituals. And yeah, I hope this conversation was helpful. I have so much more that I could say, but I guess I'll have to follow up with a part 2. Much, much love from me to you, and I will catch you all on the flip side. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of the Aligned Living Podcast. We hope you found inspiration, insight, and a fresh perspective on your journey towards holistic well-being. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Remember, your feedback fuels our mission to bring you valuable content that aligns with your life. Stay connected with us on social media for updates, and feel free to reach out with your thoughts, questions, or suggestions for future episodes. We would love to hear from you. But until next time, take good care of yourself, embrace the present moment, and remember, you are your own healer. Thank you for being a part of our community. Goodbye for now.